Not like that. They haven't used, not that, have you guys ever heard of them using records to go after anybody?
If you're just a user or a small grower, you don't have anything to worry about. I went to one court support where when I walked in the room, the prosecutor turned around and said, "For the court, Donald Lambert has entered the courtroom." And it was because I was listed as a vendor. And it was someone who supplied them, so I grew and brought it there. So they listed me and they went after that. I have heard them of going after looking for people with huge lighting bills. You know, like I said, you don't have to worry. I mean, there's like at least 75,000 people or right around there, medical marijuana patients with cards. And you know, one thing too is 5 different uniformed cops came up to me while I was on trial and told me they hoped I win. They were all watching my case and more of them wanted me to win. And so I think that says something about the progress. People are ready to stop having people put in prison and wasting money on this. And it's kind of a matter of how, too. You know, are you going to create a 2-tiered system where they keep the price high and the profit high for 1 or 2 people to provide it? Or are they going to give people freedom where they can grow it in their backyard? That brings the profit down. And the taxes and all that kind of. And the crime. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. The only crime associated is the crime of the government being controlled by corporations, which is telling us that we can't use holistic health. That's a crime.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm the vice president of Normal, San Diego. They just made me that 3 weeks ago, so I'm having fun.
To answer your question, there's a distinction too. There's a difference between a recommendation and then the state-issued card, which is a voluntary system. The state-issued card doesn't have your name on it, only has your face and an ID number. And that becomes a legal document in your records of your doctor's recommendation. His signature is now on file with the state of California and the county health department. So nobody needs to really keep any records, although most of the collectives around do not like, in dispensaries, do not want to use the state card, but to me it's a better way of going. Because they just don't have access to your records. And if the feds want your records, then they're going to have to sue the state of California.
And is it still good for a year?
It's good for a year. The other thing that's a misnomer about the law is that once a recommendation is given to you, as long as your medical condition doesn't change, then that recommendation is good for life, but everybody wants to get, the county wants their $160, the doctor wants his $50 a year, so I mean, they all do it. But actually, it has been a ruling by the court that a verbal recommendation will work.
Verbal will work.
So as long as as long as you had a recommendation and your health hasn't changed or the reason you got it, there's no reason why it should ever expire.
Any other questions? Yes.
I'm wondering if you and Mark Ramel will revive your radio show and produce it for Knsj.
Okay, so what he asked right there was whether or not Mark Mel and I would revive our old radio show. We used to have an internet radio show by the name of Political Roots. And the point of that show was to show that all of our problems, especially in medical marijuana, the roots of it are all political. So we'd go off once a week and do a show just to update patients and keep it going. So most likely, if you'd like, we'd love to get back together and do that show for you guys. It'd be fun. We've already done it before and would love to do it.
One more thing.
One more thing. Wait a second.
A statewide initiative. Is there a statewide initiative that we can back? Because if we, with our people-powered radio and with the unity we have with all the activists in town, I mean, that's what we need. We need to all get together here. You know,
I'll let Dennis jump on this one because he knows it very well.
So,
but
kind
the
of
question
repeat the question.
The question was whether or not there was an initiative that we as a group, radio station, whatever, could promote and help to get going.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Dennis, do you want to jump on this one?
No.
Okay.
But
There have been a few.
there's
Give him
been
the mic.
a few, and there isn't really one that's come out yet for the next election. Thank you, sorry. There's been a few. There really isn't one that's come out as a strong lead in the next election, and there's just a little bit of inklings of it. One of the problems is the community is diverse, and especially between Northern California and Southern California, and growers in Northern California are concerned that they're going to lose out somehow if there's legalization. And this unity is what cost the last bill, I feel,
Yes.
from passing.
Yes.
And that all happened last month. So certainly a radio station like you guys are having to keep the word out and be able to have an intelligent debate about what's going on would be very helpful. But the short answer is there isn't anything yet that I would back. But I'm sure something's going to happen. There's a lot of rumblings.
Good.
Yeah.
Could I answer that? Could I address that really quick? There's an issue that I think people should be aware of, and what that is the reality that who has the money to back an initiative and get all the signatures to get it on the ballot. Sometimes the reason that they would do that is because they have an agenda. So they want to write something into it that's going to benefit themselves. If you look at Washington State's law, which, it's good because now when people have pot, but still over 2 ounces is a felony. Why? Is someone growing at their house still a felony? Why? Because some elite group wanted to be the ones to sell it. So now where we're moving into, yes, legalization is going to happen, and zoning for medical marijuana is going to happen. Infighting and within the movement, there are actual corporations backing what appear to be activist movements who are really going into city council and trying to get this restrictive permitting, and then publicly they're saying they're doing something else. Well, on the major level, like when you looked at Prop 19 left out the right to cultivate. Well, what's Prop 215? The only thing that can override another initiative is another voter initiative. So you take Prop 19 that left out the right to cultivate, guess what happened to Prop 215? Tossed. Oh, well, isn't that great? Because now whoever has the corporate, political, insider business is going to sell it to us at prohibition prices, which are way too high. And anybody writing an initiative should make California exempt from prosecution under state law. That's what they did with Prop 215. It was absolutely written, power to the people type of initiative. We need to really be on the people who are writing initiatives and understand that there is corporate influence already pretending to be activism.
Hi, this is something I kind of want to address, and I want to make sure you all can hopefully see it the way I see it. LA just, 2 months ago had over 800 and some odd available shops to obtain medicine. When they passed Measure D, that eliminated all but 135. Now, whatever all these cities are complaining about is the congestion of patients in the shops. Now, how he's going to eliminate the congestion from 800 to 135 is beyond my comprehension. So what we need to have the availability of everybody being able to have a shot at it. Who knows what, you might not like going to this particular store, but if you're only limited to a certain amount, you're limited. That's not what we need. We need freedom, not limitations.
So to surmise that, really there's nothing we're willing to promote right now, but there's things coming through constantly. This is a movement, and I'm assuming we're going to try to get more on the ballot as we go along.
I have a question. Are there circumstances where Medi-Cal, Social Security, certain types of insurances pay for medical marijuana in the state?
Yes, but no. Okay? Answer is, as long as you're willing to do the prescribed pharmaceutical style, most likely marijuana. Yes, right? But even then, what they do is they overcharge the system so they're making the most profit they can. The last time,
$65 a pill.
that's what I'm about to say, the last time I saw the pills, they were $60, $70 a pill. A pill.
And they don't wow.
Yeah. So your answer is yes, but they're not gonna back you up on you growing something at home.
I'll tell you what the city accountant told me. Part of the medical plan is you can put in doctor's bills and get reimbursed. So when I do my annual examination with a doctor, I would put in my medical cannabis doctor's bill, because I just like doing shit like that. So I get a letter back from they agreed that they were responsible to pay my doctor's bill, but they wouldn't pay any of my medications because the federal government doesn't recognize it.
That's right.
So there's where the rub is.
It seems like a fundamental, issue is that the classification of the plant itself at the federal level.
Correct.
Are there any campaigns or national campaigns that we should be embarking on to really declassify it? Because it's also in the public perception that this is a Class A drug, highly addictive, all these things that are untrue about this natural gift
Right.
of nature.
What he just said, is there anything federal that we can do to change this? With the fact that we've got a stereotype that a lot of people are putting on the negative, is there anything that we can do on that federal level?
HR 1523,
HR 1523, which is basically saying state rights.
state rights, exactly.
If your state approved
But
it,
it's not declassifying the plant itself. It
No,
continues
it's not.
to classify it as a heroin.
Actually, a Supreme Court case that is going forward, or it's through the appeals and is going to the Supreme Court, in the next, I think, week or so, which is basically to address that there's no justification for marijuana being a Class 1 drug.
as we speak.
But, that, again, there's a lot of, the DEA comes down on it. It's really tough politically.
Do you remember the name of that case offhand?
Not offhand. Also, even going back to the original case, which was a Commerce Clause case, to where they allow the federal government, I think that was a misrepresentation of the law, misrepresentation. In fact, some of the dissenting votes, or where the comments the judge made afterwards was, I voted the way I did because I didn't want to get shit at home. And I thought, well,
Well, that was interesting.
And I'd like to kind of add, I hold out for one simple thing. I say history repeats itself. So how many of you out there remember Arnold Schwarzenegger with Yo soy numero uno, but yet he was smoking the big old doobie in his hand? Do you guys remember seeing Pumping Iron, that old movie? He ended up becoming a governor. And while he was governor, towards medical marijuana and marijuana in general, he was very negative. Wouldn't you all agree to that? We had tons of raids during this time. And we were going, wait, I saw you smoking weed. How dare you? Right? But right before he left office, he made it so that here in California, possession of an ounce was less than a misdemeanor. It's now a $65 fine, if that. Okay? A fine, a slap on the wrist. It might as well almost be legal within the state right now because of the way he pulled that off at the end of his term.
I think, yeah,
I hope history will repeat itself.
No, I think he did that because you remember that proposition was very close to passing.
Right.
And so that, when that happened, the votes that they would have gotten for proposition.
We can hear fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
He wanted it in the microphone because he's recording.
But going on, I'm hoping now Obama's going to do the same. We've all seen pictures of Obama smoking. We all know he smoked, right? And I'm hoping 2 weeks before he leaves office, just like he can do any amnesty, he's going to say state rights. And whatever your state is set up, we're going to abide by that. And honestly, that would be a quick solution. Done, handled. But I can only hope on that one because I just got to wait and be patient and hope he does something remarkable by the end of his career. It's coming around to the edge.
And legalize hemp, too.
It's the same deal.
Yeah.
It's the exact same deal. Hemp is marijuana. They're the same plant. One needs to be industrialized. We could literally change the nation. We could literally change the nation if we industrialize this plant.
Wasn't that part of the Colorado law?
That was part of the Colorado initiation, right? And unfortunately, you got the lawmakers trying to pull that back now, right? And that's kind of what they do. It's kind of what they try to do as conservatives. As soon as we pass something, they try to retract it.
They can see where the money is.
That's right. Well, they'll give them a minute, they'll start to see the money's there. Right.
There was a hemp farm in National City,
She's saying there was a hemp farm in National City. Yeah, there was.
and the buildings in Balboa Park.
We're all made out of hemp. The buildings out of Balboa Park were all made out of hemp. Any other questions?
In the original construction?
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions?
Just a comment.
Yes.
We're talking about hemp. I don't know how many of you realise that every time a ship ties up alongside the wharf, it's using a mile or more of hemp, because it's the strongest rope that there is, and it's grown naturally. Don't have to have a factory to try and manufacture something synthetic, and that's all around the world.
But DuPont,
And for
what's
hundreds of
also
years.
very important, the corporation DuPont, when they came up with the synthetic textiles,
Right.
they supported the campaign against the criminalization
Correct.
of marijuana.
What he's saying is a
Along
lot
with
of
Hearst.
that's right. A lot of the corporations, when they started to realize the use of this material and the synthetics could be affected by it, really started to oppose this as a natural use.
Also makes a great shirt.
It also makes a great shirt.
And purse.
I'm going to thank you all for coming
Flat, by the
tonight.
way.
And fuel.
I'm going to thank you all for coming tonight. Unfortunately, the movies that we had couldn't film or be put on the big screen because we forgot the projector. But I do have that one. It's a 3-minute short by the name of The Flower. I'm going to open up the computer if you guys want to all come around after this is done and watch it. I think you'll really like it. It's 0 words used, but very powerful. So I'll put that on my small computer when this is done. One last question?
Oh, I just have one announcement before we
Yes.
adjourn. And
And let me end by saying thank you, Activist San Diego. Please support KNSJ 89.1. We're just getting on our feet and we need your support.
Ariel Johansson is here tonight, and she has tickets for the East County Magazine event on August the 10th, which will be in Descanso, our designated city. And she actually has tickets here tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. The local barbecue legend up there in Descanso is going to provide all the food, and there's going to be entertainment and all that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say it's a benefit for East County Magazine, which is on the radio, on Knsj, and for the wildfire alerts that we have for wildfire and emergencies in East County.
And we need that more than ever right now, with all the fires raging.
I think
So-
there's maybe each one of those areas is only 10% actually. You would actually be able to work on that.
It's like a gravel pit or something.
In fact, there was one testing.
Come on back, guys. I want you to check this out. It's one of the few things that